Test on. Good? Okay. All right, we're going to call the meeting to order November 20th, 2025. Notice of meeting was posted on November the 14th of 2025. Call to order. Eric?
The members of the Planning Commission today are Mr. Gary Jewell, Mr. Jeffrey Farmer, Ms. Denise Patterson,
Here.
and Mr. Greg Davidson.
Here.
All right. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting, date October the 16th, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any corrections? All right. Can I get a roll call?
Someone's
Or
got to
can I
make
get a motion? Sorry, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mr. Farmer, Ms. Patterson,
Yes.
and Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion. Minutes approved. Number 5, discussion of possible action to withdraw the general plat of Fontenot subdivision GP 2025-01. Item was deferred by the Planning Commission on April 17th, 2025. Eric, staff report?
Yes, so item 5 and 6 are companion items. I don't know if anybody may recall, but basically what they were doing in this case was just creating a lot split. Mr. Fontenot at that time asked for a deferral because there were some other issues and they were thinking about even selling the property. We were finally able to get a hold of him here within the last month, and he stated that he would like to withdraw the general plat and the final plat. So that's what we're requesting today.
Do we have any questions for Eric? Okay. Do we have anybody in favor to talk about item 5? Seeing none. Anybody here to address it against item 5? Seeing none. Do I have a motion to accept or deny?
I'll give a motion. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
And Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Motion approved. Item 6, companion.
Right, this is just the final plat that they're asking to be withdrawn as well.
Any discussion for Eric? Okay. Anybody here to speak against it or speak for it? Anybody here to speak against it? Okay, can I get a motion?
Motion for the first, mother do this one.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer?
Yes.
Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Item 7, discussion and possible action to approve or deny the final plat of Timberline, FP 2025-10. Eric, staff report?
Yes, so this is the development that has been in front of the Planning Commission in regards to the preliminary plat, general plat. This is out off of Douglas, just south of Waterloo Road, about a half mile on the east side. They are done with the construction of the development. I was out there a week or two ago to do a walk around in the development to make sure that everything that was part of the plan was constructed or at least moving that direction. Overall, it looks pretty good. We'll see how it holds up in the rain today and future rain events. There may be some maintenance that has to go on throughout the life of the development as long as we have the erosion control bond, but everything looks good in that regard. One thing that I wanted to bring back up to the board that was a concern during the preliminary plat, and is still a concern now, is on the northeast corner, there is a easement that's there. And that easement provides access to the property owners on the east and west side. There is some concern that since that easement is part of the common area, that as this development takes shape and you have all the lots sold, that the HOA would potentially use that easement, in this case the common area, potentially blocking access off to adjacent property owners that would utilize that to get to their property. As an example there, you can kind of see on the east side, Mr. Cook, who is here, he would like to discuss it, but he doesn't have a home there currently. He does have a building there on the structure on the property. He's just afraid that as this builds up, that the common area, by the vote of the homeowners association, could become a walking trail something along that line. So he wants to be sure that that common area there, which is also an access easement, they do not block his access in the future. So that is, I'll let him speak to that a little bit more, but that is definitely a concern. The way we view it, even though it's common area, that easement does not go away, and so it could be possible. Currently, on the plat, it doesn't reference the book and page of the access easement that is currently there, so that may go to help the issue as far as future property owners in there make the HOA aware. That could be a possibility of going that direction to make people aware. Also, as the development grows, if it's going to be run by an HOA, you can have restrictive covenants to where that access easement is made part of that restrictive covenant. So again, the homeowners association is aware that it exists. We don't, the county does not enforce restrictive covenants. So it is a big concern for Mr. Cook, and like I said, he's here to speak to that some more. So we're just trying to avoid a potential future problem.
Do you have any questions for Eric?
The property in question is not the pie-shaped one just to the east side, it's the one north of that, right?
Right, so that strip that runs from the northeast corner all the way up to Waterloo Road, that's the access easement.
But it's just to the properties on both sides of that easement, not the common area, the little rectangle one part of this addition.
Right, that's correct.
Any more questions for Eric? Is there anybody here to speak for?
Yes.
For? Speak for.
Thank you, Eric. I'm Caleb Smith with Craft and Toll, 300 Point Parkway Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. And I'd just like to reiterate a few things that Eric said. And if you all would like, I also have some of the pre-recorded final plat that are like half size, and we can distribute those if you'd like a smaller thing to look at on paper. But like Eric said, this is about 82 acres, and it's being subdivided into 58 residential lots. And this final plat, I was out there with Eric that morning for the construction walkthrough, and everything that the county has brought up as a concern, the developer has been very quick to respond to. And as far as the public improvements, those are all completed. So all the roadways inside of the public right-of-way have been completed, and all of those drainage structures. So, and then I'd also like to specify that the final plat that this is identical to the preliminary plat and the general plat and the master development plan for the PUD that have all come before this body. Most recently, the preliminary plat, I think a handful of months ago. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all might have, and then go from there.
Do we have any questions?
So I noticed before, the property to the south of that,
Yes, sir.
is that any plan, is that property owned by the same property owner as this or not?
So you'll notice that that is the boundary of Edmond, where Edmond starts and Oklahoma County. So we do know that that is owned by a developer that does own that property. And so that stub street will eventually be connected onto whoever is doing those plans. Yes.
Anything submitted on that to City of Edmond yet? Or
I
and
don't.
That's because of that.
If anything, there have been maybe some PUD zonings that have gone before, but I'm not entirely familiar with that.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else here to speak for the project? Okay. Is anybody here to speak against the project? If you'll state your name and address.
Yeah, thank you. Kelly Cook, Midwest City. My exact
Physical
address?
Yes, please.
Huh?
Physical address, please.
512 Country Club Terrace, Midwest City, 73110. So I have the land. It's 10 acres there, and I'm part of a private roadway easement, as it's designated as such in the language here. And I've noticed I think it was Greenbelt, and then they changed it to Common or whatever, and they added that, so I think they could meet get more lots or whatever. And they reduced one of the common areas in the original development. It went from 8 acres to 5 acres or 10 acres to 8 acres or something. There's a reduction there. And so I'm concerned, okay, you call it a common area. Why should someone down the line, after it's developed and all the lots are sold and the homes are built, have to fight for that easement and paper and try to do the legal battle to reestablish what's already established? That's my concern. I don't want, if I want to sell it, I don't want to have the title company say, no, you can't, we're not going to touch that because, it's part of the HOA or part of the commons. So I don't know what the solution is. I mean, you guys have dealt with this a ton, I would think. But that's the deal. To have that a common area, and then 20 years from now or tomorrow or whenever, the homeowners association says, well, we want to do something with that. Well, all of a sudden they do something, and then I have to deal with that and reestablish my rights, reestablish the easement. I don't know. I just don't want, I feel like right now is the time to address that rather than have adversity for me down the line when the developer and all that, they're all long gone. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Mine would be for Eric.
I got, where is your 10 acres?
Well, right, it's right where the easement. See the 60-foot easement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a building there. I got a 40 by 60 building. It's right there in the corner of the,
Okay, right here.
right there in the corner.
And that's your only access?
That's it.
Okay.
So is that square right there just to the left of the north arrow, right?
Okay.
That 10 acre there, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, to the left of that,
So
the north arrow.
before it was developed, how did you access it?
We've always had access.
That's always been there.
Been there at least 42 years. When this 40 acres originally sold, the owner owned 320 acres in Herrick. And he sold this and he retained this for roadway purposes.
Mhm.
That's what he has. And then sold this off so he could use, and he can use this. When his 10 acres was sold, it was giving him the right of way to use that strip of land.
So you'd come off Douglas. You come off Douglas Avenue?
Waterloo.
Sam, can you go back
Okay,
here and let
sorry.
him finish? Thank you.
Sorry about that. So, yeah, I come off Waterloo. That's the only access to my 10 acres that's there. It's a private roadway easement, 60 foot wide by however long. I can't remember how long it is, but it's been there for, a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that's gravelled it over time. I've maintained it over time until just recently when Jim, the developer, Jim Tapp, had some of his guys mow it. Other than that, I'm the only one that uses it until now.
Right.
And it probably, in my opinion, and this is me looking at this.
Yeah.
That's probably what's still gonna happen. They own it, but they have to by law, because it's like your property's landlocked in, other than that 60 foot by quarter mile piece of land there, is your easement into your property to get you there. They can't take that away from you by law. You can't landlock somebody in no matter how you sell a piece of property and move it around. But they don't have to do anything to that property. That's why you said you maintain it for your road, right?
Yes. Now I don't go up there very often, but if I particularly in the last 4, 5, 6 years, I don't go up there because I'm in Midwest City. But I have rented it out at times, and the problem is down the line. Go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry.
You need to consult with a lawyer, but
I have.
easements are forever. Okay.
Yes.
And you have a statutory right for ingress and egress, just
Correct.
he indicated, so you need to, what you are asking about is, in the future, is somebody going to ignore your easement? That could have happened over the last 40 years. The thing is people have, this cannot go anywhere. If they do encroach upon it, you have legal recourse. And that is your easement. It's going to be your easement, and it travels with the land whether you sell it or don't. So the fact that this is a development does not impact your easement or your easement rights at all.
Well, the development has used that portion of land to be able to get more lots. In other words, like I said, they reduced the amount of common area inside the plat down by I think it was the exact amount that they gained by claiming that, designating that easement as private or as common area. And that, to me, is not a good indication of, that creates problems for me or the future landowner, in my opinion. And you don't think so. It creates an expense, an unnecessary adventure. You know, if that's part of the common area, the homeowners association owns it, and they want to plant a bunch of trees and put a walkway or do whatever, that's an unnecessary complication for, how can an easement be part of the development plans? How can they get credit for that easement when they?
Like
Yeah.
I said, this is about the difference between ownership and an easement. They
Yeah.
own
Okay.
they own the surface right, and they have an easement. They cannot interfere with your ingress and egress of that easement. It doesn't matter if they use that surface as part of their claim of a common area. What they cannot do is build a structure there or block off your access. They cannot do that by law, and they cannot do that by law whether it's now, 40 years ago, now, or
Yeah.
40 years in the future. As long as that easement runs with the land, and that, I can't give you legal advice, but I'm
No,
saying
I
I am telling you that from a legal perspective,
Yeah.
for this board's consideration, that is not an issue for this plat development, because as of right now, that easement runs with the land, and the developer is treating it appropriately under the law right now.
Yeah, but as an owner of a private easement, say I want to go in there and pave it 60 foot wide, the full length of it. How is that common? How does that get credit for Greenbelt? I don't know. You tell me. Have they got trees in Greenbelt that can grow out of concrete now? You know, anyway, you understand my concern, I think. And I understand you guys, vote however, do whatever you need to do. And I haven't talked with Jim on this or his counsel or their counsel, who's here, I guess. So I don't know. That's the deal. Any other questions?
Okay.
If there's not some kind of amendment to that, just that saying common area and that being common area, then that loosens my easement, it feels to me like. And it creates a hurdle that I will potentially have, or a future landowner, adversely affects the ability to sell that, clouds it. So,
Okay, thank you, sir.
thank you.
If I may, Kendall Dillon with Craft and Toll, just as a quick follow-up, but obviously our client has title to that property. There's an easement in place. We recognize it. We have no intention of cutting off anybody's access. We cannot cut off anybody's access. We own it, so we have to do something with it, which is why that we would plat it. And we would put that in the HOA. But again, we'll work with Mr. Cook. We cannot cut off his access. We have no intention of it. There's no other thing that we really can do with it but plat it. He mentioned Greenbelt. It really is just common area, because what else could we do with it as having title to it but to plat it as common area for the benefit of the whole. So, again, this is really an issue between private parties, and has nothing to do with subdivision regulations or plating or anything else. It's just a private party issue, and certainly, like I say, we have no intention of cutting off his access, nor could we. So,
Thank you. Is anybody else here to speak against it? State your name and address, please.
Mary Ann Serblin, 24520 North Douglas Boulevard. I'm on the Douglas side. Okay. I would like to make a couple more points, especially about HOAs. There have been several additions in the Edmond area, incorporated Edmond, Oklahoma City, that after the developer left, HOA took over the greenbelt spaces, and for whatever reason, they chose not to pay the property tax, and it went to sale, and a third party bought the property. So it was no longer HOA property. So what my concern is, since they won't be using it as a park or dog park or walking trails, then what happens if they decide we're not going to pay the $167 a year property tax, we'll just let it go because we're not using it. And somebody else comes, that's another battle for him, a third party to keep access. What happens, another thing is, what happens if he wants to put an electric gate? Say he divides it up into 2 lots and sells those off. He maintains, say, 2 acres for himself. And then you've got trash trucks, you've got Amazon, you've got all these other pool maintenance people coming in, and having to go down, unlock that gate. That's not feasible. Will he be allowed to put an electric gate up? One of those automatic gate openers? Because that's 2,200 and some odd feet. That's basically a half a mile walk one way or another. That's too far to take your trash down, pull your trash carts down.
That's a private matter, right? Yeah, correct.
Okay, so that is my concern. What Mr. Cook and I had talked about is possibility of having the developer, after he's done using that land, then and everything's built out, then turning that strip of land over to Mr. Cook. So it ensures him in perpetuality access without problems, without hassles. Okay. My second point, my own personal thing, is I was driving here and we've had problems with over at that lot 1, there is a retention pond. This, when I was driving here, sorry I couldn't make pictures, but this is what was coming out of that. Okay? It's flooding the bar ditch.
Can you go back to the?
Okay. The water is washing across the road. Over the last couple rains, the silt coming off of that has filled in my bar ditch again after digging it out. So that water is going over the road, and it's also going into my pasture, flooding and silting in my front pasture. The neighbors across the road, she can't be here. She's been here at other meetings for this. She said, but she can't be here. But there's pictures I took of the water coming across the road, flowing in, silting in by her road, by her driveway, going across into the neighbors, going across the neighbors' property, and flooding their property out. They're probably at work, so they don't know about it. I got pictures here showing that. So something is going to have to be done, because with this retention pond, the amount of water coming off compared to what it has over the last 42 years that I've lived there is just, it's gone up 20, 40, 50, 100 times coming off. I've never had that silting problem in 42 years that I've had since this has been going on. This retention pond plus the development. Yes, he's been out there. He's had crews out there putting a lot of sod down, but there's still so much water coming off of that. And it's silting in my bar ditch. They've taken that bar ditch down in front of that pond down to the previous level before they started any development. But with as much water coming off, I mean, it's pretty much flat with the road. So it's not really a bar ditch, but it's been flat. So all the water is going across the road, leaving silt and sediment. And tree branches, etc., on the roadway right now as we speak. And in the past, there was so much silt coming off. One Sunday, there was 12 to 18 inches of silt on Douglas from one side to the other, probably about 10 feet wide. I should have took a picture of it in the past, but Mr. Tapp had to have a crew out there on Sunday morning with a front end loader getting all that silt off the road because nobody could get through Douglas, a public mile section road. There's still silt coming across, debris coming across that makes it dangerous. So he's going to have to do something in the front there, in front of his, dig out that bar ditch to handle the water, and then I'm going to have to go back and dig out in front of my place because the bar ditch is now filled up and it's going over into my pasture. If you want to see the pictures, I can show you pictures of that. So I ask respectfully, before you approve this plat, to have Mr. Tapp and his engineers figure out some way on their side to dig out their bar ditch. I'll take care of mine, but I don't want to have to keep digging it out after every rain. I'm 67 years old with bad knees, but I don't want them coming in with heavy equipment and messing up what I have there. I spent a couple $100 on seed trying to seed that in after the last time. I just can't do that. I can't be digging out my pasture because when you have silt like this, I can't mow over it with a riding mower. An area like this, I can't. I can't keep digging it out. So I ask that before you approve this here final plat, figure out something that's going to, or figure out with that detention pond some better ways. Because, like I say, me and my neighbors can't just keep getting flooded out.
Thank you. Can you guys come address that? Do you mind?
Thank you. Yes, I'd love to address those concerns. And we have discussed previously with Miss Marianne this project and how it's been going. I would like to contest one thing that she said. She said that the flow has increased. We have engineering and everything that's standard with the subdivision regulations and everything that the county has. That at that corner, there's no increase in flow. The historic is the same for each storm event, the 2, the 5, the 10-year, all of those, the 100-year. So that's why we put in those retention ponds, is to lower that flow down. As far as and so that goes for all of the public improvements that are already complete. So those are completed, and that is the part of what is up for discussion with this final plat. And the erosion control matters are a private thing that the developer does during construction in the interim. And the way that the county helps maintain that erosion control and their policies and to protect downstream property owners who also would be affected by this. Eric has been very active, and you guys have an erosion control bond that is up for the additional 2 years. And so I believe that's still in place. And then also beyond that, there's a roadway bond as well. And then additionally, Eric asked for like an erosion control manual for the HOA to follow. And so in that, there is a perpetual after rainfall or weekly to go in and check for bar ditches and clean those out. And then during the inspection that we did, actually the number one item was to clear out that silt inside of the Douglas ditch. And so if that hasn't been done, it will be done, and it will be done until the construction is complete with this property. So, and the way that the property owners are protected is again with that erosion control bond. So that will remain in effect, and the developer will keep cleaning that out until the construction is completely done and there is no more adverse silt from construction. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions. I'm sure you guys have some follow-ups possibly.
Yeah, was it a detention pond built to the engineer specs?
Yes, sir, yes.
Did they do as-built or anything?
Yes, and actually we did. Eric asked about one of the ponds on site. His specific question was about the pond in the south, but the northwest and the northeast, they are all built according to the plans, and so.
Okay.
And we did as-built them, yes.
Okay.
So we do have those, and the county does have those.
Okay.
All of those survey shots.
Are they reaching?
So it's kind of hard, but typically when people specify detention, retention would mean that the pond is typically wet and detention is typically dry. So the northwest one is a detention. It is typically dry. The only retention is the southern one. But again, commonly people mix and, use the same word or different words for the same meaning.
They say that don't mean it means, so
Right. Specifically, that one is dry.
is that one complete as per design?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So,
And so that flow varies from, it's about 15 acres that drain to that area.
and with that being said, it's done by design and the roads are in, there's no houses been built yet. So there's a lot of the ground that's perking now and getting the ground gets absorbed as the water goes into it will change when you get rooftops in there. So is it gonna accommodate, we're having a problem now, is that problem gonna be adversely more?
I
houses
understand.
built or not?
Yes, I understand what you're asking. It will be, so right now the way that it works is during construction, it's kind of a lot of bare earth, especially up in that area. And so the engineering calculations that we do to specify existing conditions are it was previously a pasture, and the proposed conditions that calculate like how much water seeps into the ground, and that does include like rooftop space, porch space, patio space, all of that gets included into those curve numbers. So that is calculated into the developed flow.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's calculated into it. But there's no houses built yet, there's no driveways in yet. And if, suppose there is an issue apparently here right now.
So yes, I
Oh.
see what you're saying. So yes, the engineering calculations do show that the developed flow is less than the historic. However, right now you're concerned that it seems like there's a problem. And that is because there has been quite a bit of flow. And then also the area that is right there is pretty bare, and that is being mitigated with the erosion control measures.
And just as a follow-up, so I don't think there's any problem with the design of the pond nor the rate at which water comes. I think the issue that you struggle with during construction is the silt. So I think when it comes to is there any problem at all, I think the answer is no. But you still have silt that is hard to contain. And obviously throughout the construction process, and that particular issue doesn't just end because you got the longevity of building neighborhoods and you still have to and so all of those things are covered by one, all of your design criteria and ordinances that are in place, but also by ODEQ because we have to pull their OKR 10 permits. So they're involved in the process as well, that even though the development side is done, there's still maintenance, like you have to still keep subdivision or logs after every rainfall event, every 2 weeks, which you're in construction, so you understand. So the erosion control side of it, I think, is what we're talking about with the issue. So that's an ongoing process, and every time that it rains, you have to keep up those BMPs and all those erosion control measures. So that's what we're saying, that there's not an issue with the design or the rate of flow with the pond. It's just the silt and the bar ditch and those sort of things throughout the construction process and where we are now. It's been cleaned out. We've continued to maintain it, but that process has to continue. And with every rain, you just have to address it until everything is completely built and it's 100. And this is no different than every other development in the county, in every city. That's the reason there's a lot of oversight, not only from your county staff, but from ODEQ to make sure that these situations, these regulations, that nobody just abandons it. They're taken care of and everybody's protected. So I think that's what we're dealing with. And then on top of that, you all require the erosion control bond so that if for some reason our client or the developer doesn't perform, then you all have the ability to perform on his behalf. So like I say, so I think that's what we're talking about, not the design of the rate of flow or anything like that. I think it's got to do with the erosion.
And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And the whole deal is what I'm asking is that has all the measures, is sod been put down or grass established in there? Because if it's still getting silt in there, I mean, there's no grass or something to stop silt. Is there a proper silt fence as if right now on the north side of it, keeping the silt going at her property? So there's a lot that has to be completed to where that's a complete project.
Yeah, it really is done. The problem is until like the whole site, like you can't get stabilization on 100% of your whole site. You put in the erosion control measures downstream and strategic locations, but every time that it rains, then you have to maintain those things until it's completely built. There's no activity. no disturbance. And so that's part of the process. So that's all I'm trying to communicate is there's really not a problem. It's just every time it rains, you have to go continue to maintain it. And that
Is the silt fence up?
Yes.
Is it properly up and
Yes.
stopping the silt? Yeah, and you said you was there. Okay.
So, and like I say, so I think there was a couple things on the punch list, but as a whole, I think it's all in. And so to answer your question, but that's where it gets tricky to answer this question. It's like if it rained an inch up there today, then what we know is we still have to go back and do maintenance on it after today's event. It's just part of the process. And there's nothing different about that development than every other development that's under construction. It's just the nature of construction. So hopefully that clarifies it.
Well, I've seen people put silt fences. Okay, there's silt fence up, and there's a proper way to put it up. Okay,
Correct.
And so if it's not put up properly, just because it's there and it looks pretty,
Sure.
if when you get a 1 inch rain, if it's not doing its job, it's just there for looks.
Right. And we all know that there's a certain amount of, if it comes a 100-year storm event, right? Like most BMPs are made for a certain level of storm, but you're going to have issues outside that can't be prevented with certain size storms. So, but that's part of the process of keeping up your BMPs, making sure they're maintained. And if something's not working, then yeah, if you see in a rainstorm or event or two, and something seems to not be working well, then you make corrections and you update your SWIP and you continue to stay on top of it. So that's all, just trying to make sure that we segregate out the volume or the rate of flow and then the erosion control, knowing that the erosion control is in, but it's never complete or you're done with it until all the houses are built and it's completely reestablished.
Eric, thank you.
So just to add my 2 cents. So when we were out there doing the punch list and walking through everything, the majority of things ran at that point. The things that were not, they were still working on that day. They were still out there, even working yesterday. They sent me the pictures of everything that was in. So part of the issue, if you will, is not it's designed properly. There is areas along, especially the north side, and just the development whole, that you still have utilities that are coming in. And so it doesn't make sense from the developer side to go put all this sod in where they know the utility company is just going to rip it right back out in a week. Because OG&E was out there the day that we were out there. So we had a discussion. They had quite a few trees that are out there. We let them know, hey, use the trees, grind that material up, use that trees to have cover on the dirt. They put several, as an example, on the north side of the property, they put several straw wattles in that ditch to basically act as check dams to get to that. Even in my email that I sent them yesterday, these subdivisions are like living organisms. Every time it rains, there's going to be some other issue that you have to stay on top of. We have part of our stormwater regulation that we have to go out and check these developments at least once a quarter, if not more, depending on the amount of rain that we have. So we're going to be out there checking this. So sure, you're going to have runoff, but you, just like Mr. Dillon said, you just have to maintain it. And so we've reiterated that in our letters, phone calls. So I don't, at least at this point, I don't have any concern as far as them working with us to address those issues. I agree with Mr. Dillon that every development that we do, you have this issue. And it's just something that you have to look at each time. Does this need to be corrected? Do we need to change this? Move on accordingly.
You have any questions for Eric?
Good.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. Can I get a vote to either approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve this and move forward.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer? Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Item 7 approved. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve or deny the general plat of Four Corners Land, GP 2025-10. Eric, staff report?
Yes, so item 8 and 9 are companion items. Basically, what you're dealing with here is a change in the regulation to where at the end of the day, what you're accomplishing is a lot split. With the regulation change, when you're creating a lot that is smaller than 5 acres, when you're splitting property, you have to go through the platting process. So what you see there, total property size there between track 1 and track 2 is approximately 10 acres. Track 2 is being split off from track 1. Track 2 is 2 acres. And so you have the remainder there of track 1. This property is located on Waterloo, so it's very, very edge of the northwest part of the county, Waterloo and County Line Road. So it's pretty straightforward of what he's asking. Like I said, it's really just a simple lot split.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Eric?
What is this zone now?
It is zoned R2, and R2, as long as you don't go beneath 2 acres in size, you don't have to change the zoning. So obviously that's why they decided to go with 2 acres on that lot.
Thank you, Eric. Is anybody here to speak for the project? If you'll state your name and your address, please.
My name is Sammy Swice, and 6404 Northwest 158th Terrace, Edmond, Oklahoma. Pretty much just what he said. I'm just trying to split up the land into 2 pieces.
Anybody have any questions? No questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is anybody else here to speak in favor of it? Is anybody here to speak against it? Any more discussion? Okay, Eric? Okay, do I have a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
One second. Roll call?
Mr. Jewell? Yes. Mr. Farmer? Yes. Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Item number 9, again, is a companion item. This is just the final plat of the same issue. I have nothing new to add.
Nothing further to add? Do I need anybody to come speak for it?
He's just going to repeat
the same thing.
Motion
Anybody
to approve.
against it? Roll call, Eric.
Mr. Jewell? Yes. Mr. Farmer? Yes. Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Item 9 approved. Item 10, discussion and possible action to approve or deny a zoning change from R2 Rural Residential District to Planned Unit Development, PUD 2025-03, North Meridian Avenue and Coffee Creek Road. Eric, staff report?
So before we get into discussion, I want to hand out a couple of things. There were some letters of protest that we received, but during that time of protest, the property owner's representative has changed the PUD to some degree. So I want to also hand out a change that was made to the PUD because you guys had received the original in the email. So there are some changes. So let me hand out those 2.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept?
I think make a motion to that.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer? Yes. Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
These letters came in before the modification too, so. Okay.
I'll give you a few minutes to review that and just holler at me when you're ready to move forward.
Oh, yeah, it looks like some of the same question. Same bullet lines.
Has everybody had a chance to review?
I'm good.
Okay, so I'll do the best that I can to describe what's going on here because it's pretty unique as far as what they're requesting and just kind of the situation in general. So this particular piece of property is located off Meridian between 220th and 234th on the northwest side of the county. The property owner there, they own the 80 acres that you see, but the PUD document only applies to the square that is in the northeast part of the property. And that consists approximately of 1.17 acres. If you go to the next slide, so this was a drawing that was provided to us. So from my understanding of the situation here is basically this is a family-owned piece of property. They've acquired this property to basically make it a working family compound. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but so what you see there is they have a couple of structures that are existing. There are 3 more homes that are being built on the north side of the property now. We've recently received a permit for a chapel there on the property. So you can kind of see there's plans to build some additional homes back to the west and north. There's an additional building that they want to build in regards to kind of like a barn, working farm, if you will, to where they're going to have horses and other types of animals. They want to have a gym out there at some point in time, from my understanding. Like I stated, they want to have a chapel out there as well. And so what this PUD specifically oversees is, if you go back to the previous slide real quick, like I stated, that square there, if you go back to the slide we were just on, that consists of the large building there in the north corner where it's next to that red arrow, if you will, towards the northeast corner. So the building that they want to conduct this industrial activity, I'll kind of let them explain more about exactly what it is, but from my understanding, it has to do with the manufacturing of helicopter blades, aviation blades, from my understanding. And so the original PUD that you had before you was going the route of industrial. If you notice the change on page 3, they've now decided to keep it R2 and have this particular use included as R2. So beforehand, it was industrial. It was including everything industrial. Now they've gone back to R2, and they've included this specific use of what they want to do. They've also gone as far as limiting the amount of noise from the property. They've also gone as far as to talk about lighting and how they're going to deal with lighting and overspill of lighting. That was added. Another thing that was added was hours of operation. That was not in the original document that you had. So they've limited the hours of operation from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, and there will be no activity as far as that manufacturing operation on Saturday and Sunday. So it's quite a few changes from what you originally got. Like I said, the letters of protest that you had received was before these changes. From my understanding, the applicant's legal representative who is doing the PUD has been in contact with these property owners to let them know, this new document and what was going to change. And so that's the information that I have as far as what I know at this point. I will let the applicant's representative speak. Maybe they can give you more information as far as what exactly is being manufactured there and the overall intent of the property itself.
Thank you, Eric. You'll state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant who is also here with me. So Eric did a great job of summarizing all the things that have gone on with this application, this property. So we did submit a more general PUD originally because it was limited to just that 1 acre piece and then surrounded by the property where the applicant will be living. We received the protest letters. We did make some modifications at that time and distribute that. And then we actually had the opportunity of meeting with all of the people who wrote in protest letters as well as other neighbors last night within the existing shop that is the subject of this PUD. Made a couple more modifications, which is what you all have before you now. So in terms of making a vote today, we would request that it would be to this revised document, and I can go ahead and read in some of those revisions to the record here shortly. But yeah, summary of what the use is. It's very unique. It's a very niche business where they're manufacturing aviation balancing equipment. So everything happens indoors. There's no outdoor storage component associated with the use. It is a family-owned and operated business that they've had for about 50 years or more, I believe. 75, apologies. So very unique, but again, based on the concerns that we heard from the neighbors, we just wanted to go ahead and address those, put them in this master design statement, which of course will run with the land, and we've restricted it so much so that in the event that they're using that for an operation that's not specifically the aviation balancing equipment, they're going to have to use it for something that is permitted under the current R2 rural residential standards. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and read into the record some of these changes that were made. So for section 8.1, we did change that base zoning district to R2 rural residential. We allow the R2 uses, and then we also add that the following use shall be the only other use permitted within the PUD. We have the industrial limited, further limited to the manufacturing of aviation blade balancing equipment. All operations will be contained within the existing structure. Outdoor storage shall not be permitted, and there shall be a maximum of 70 decibels measured at the property line. Under section 9.3, so quick history, this was a landscaping company that was operating without the proper entitlements. They had put up lighting and things like that, some of the neighbors to the north had issues with. Since we're now, going through the correct process to bring everything up to code, we'll be taking down some of those lights that are shining into the residents to the north, their homes. So we went ahead and we're complying with just the residential lighting standard. If it's non-residential, they have more flexibility there with lighting. So bringing it back to what's allowed under that R2 and preventing any light spillover onto adjacent residential properties. And then 9.17, we have in here hours of operation shall be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, closed on Saturday and Sunday. So I think based on our meeting last night, we were able to get to an agreement with all of the neighbors, which I think is evidenced by the fact that they're not here today to protest. This has been circulated to everyone that attended last night, so everyone has a copy of this as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
You have any questions?
Well, as per the movie Wizard of Oz, this is a horse of a different color, okay?
That's right.
I tell you what, when I first seen it, I was like, we're going to go for in R2, go to
Yeah.
PUD for industrial. I'm going like, nobody's going to want this around there. And that's what I was going to ask too is, can we limit it back to just certain things?
Yeah.
PUD? So, yeah. I think it's wonderful now. So.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here to speak for it? Yeah. If you'll say your name and your address, please.
Scott Byron, and that's my address right there. And just a few things. We don't manufacture helicopter blades. What we manufacture is, it looks like essentially a 2 to 4 foot rod that has many different parts in it that have to be ground down to generally 1/1000th of a human hair. And so a lot of what we do is assembly and balancing. And what do you have to do with balancing? You have to literally sit for hours and watch something get into balance, into an extreme tolerance. So actually running the machines, we are a manufacturer, but if you looked at our shop every day, we're running these machines maybe 3 hours out of the day. We check the decibel levels on the machines. We tried to address every single concern that came through those letters. I also got texts. It's very important to me that my family and I are good neighbors. So we had an opportunity to explain all this to the neighbors, encouraged all neighbors to come last night. and tried to walk them through. I know I got a lot of deer in the headlights look of what we do, but I at least wanted to get them the sense that this is when you think helicopter and manufacturer, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is a humongous building and we got 3 shifts. We're very blessed to have my son-in-law, my son, and my daughter, my wife, myself, and my best friend and one other employee, and they're all moving. And temporarily, my best friend and employee are going to be living on the property, and then they'll find a place to live. But then it'll just be our 5 family members working in this shop. And we assured all of our neighbors, we want to be very good neighbors. We want to be a value add to the community. I know it sounds a little strange to stick industrial right in the middle of, I never liked that, by the way. I liked where we landed. We're not going to have another business. This is our family business that my grandfather invested in right when it actually started in the late 40s, but my grandfather got in 1961. And it's been in our family ever since. My grandfather ran it, my father, my brother, and now me. And hopefully one day maybe my children before AI gets our business. But anyways, I just wanted to give a little bit more flavor to what this is. And this is a dream of our family. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is anybody here to speak against the project? Okay. Seeing none. Eric? Any additional comments?
I do have a question for Lisa, actually. In regards to the letter of protest that we received, I understand that nobody is here today to protest that, this item. But do those letter of protests, I assume those people have to request that those letters of protest be removed. So my point is that on the north side of the property, the people that protested, this would be considered significant protest in regards to the county's regulations. So I would assume they would have to remove those protests themselves.
They would, if they're not here today to tell us one way or another, so we have to take the face value that they're treating them as such. There is no requirement that they actually be here. That's what the whole point of submitting the letter of protest. So without withdrawal, we have to treat them as.
So the question becomes, can they withdraw these letter of protest by contacting us before it gets to the Board of County Commissioners? So when the Board of County Commissioners votes on this PUD, that it is no longer significant protest in regards to the statute.
Eric, that's a really good question. But the thing is, I'm going to say this, the process is in place for it to go to the BOCC. So at that meeting, if they have withdrawn their letters of protest, I think you just give that information to the commissioners and let them make that. For today's purposes, we have to consider those as what they are. If they do withdraw it, I think that you just let that BOCC know they were significant letters of protest that were later withdrawn.
Sure, okay, no problem.
How do you enforce the stipulation that they can only make equipment for balancing? How's that enforced?
Well, that's.
What if this guy moves away, someone buys the 80 acres or part of it, and it's still zoned industrial?
So it's not zoned industrial. It's zoned R2.
But it's
So-
PUD.
That's right. So the only thing they can do in that 1.7 acres that is, if you will, industry related, is what they stated. You can't do anything else besides that. So the only way that we would know, which is an issue that we've had forever, if they sell this property, somebody else moves there, and they start doing something different than what was originally stated in the PUD, either we catch it or hopefully adjacent property owner catches it, and then we deal with it.
And then complains, and then the county has to shut them down.
Right, if we get to that point.
Something like
yes,
that.
Yes. But yes, that's an issue in a PUD and something that's zoned properly. It's
probably a civil deal.
Well, it's just an issue for us, period. Because if, you can go as simple as, let's say someone who has a piece of property that's R2, one of the things that we don't allow is travel trailers. People move travel trailers out to these pieces of property and have these travel trailers all the time. That's against the county's regulation. So we have to deal with that by letting people know you're in violation, correct the violation, or we can go the court process. So you always have this issue. This, even though this is unique, they're not any different than anybody else as far as what we deal with.
All right. I didn't realize you could have a lot within a lot that you could zone separate from the rest of that lot. I didn't know that was even without doing a lot split.
Yeah, you don't have to split the property to rezone a portion of it. You can, if you own, like this case, you own it all and you want to do a small portion, you don't have to split it off. A lot of people, when you get into a splitting process, typically what you're dealing with is someone who wants to build something. There's usually a mortgage or something tied to that property, so the bank wants to go after something. That's typically what you see.
Any more questions? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve or deny? Item 10?
I'd like to make the motion based on her comments of what stipulations changed and your comments of reaching out to the property owners that had the complaints to make sure they've got clear.
Roll call?
Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Mr. Farmer.
Yes.
Ms. Patterson.
Yes.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes.
Item 10 approved. Item 11, discussion and possible action to approve or deny a zoning change from R1 Acreage Residential District to a planned unit development, PUD 2025-04, at the corner of Northwest 164th and North Rockwell Avenue. Eric, staff report?
Yes. So this kind of scenario plays into what Mr. Davidson was just questioning. So this particular piece of property is located off Northwest 164th and Rockwell. Is there on the northeast corner. Currently, the property there is zoned R1, which is acreage residential. Basically, what that means is you can have a home on a 1 acre lot or larger. This property owner owns a significant amount of property there. The building that you see in the box there on the screen, the building itself has been out there for at least a couple of decades, if I remember correctly. So in this particular case, this building was being used for a nonprofit called Fields and Futures that the property owner is a part of. And so it had been out there for quite some time. Basically, how we classify that is a non-conforming use because we don't know exactly when that started. So it's difficult to establish a timeline. So we move forward as a non-conforming use. They can continue to use that for that purpose. Once that purpose ceases to be active or no longer exists, the next time you start up some other business or some other activity on the property that is different from what it was originally, you then have to bring the property into compliance with the county zoning regulation. So in this case, from what we can tell, around the March-April timeframe, the building that you see there was being used as a gym. People were going there. I assume they had a gym membership to some degree. They were going there to exercise and that sort of thing. There was quite a few signs along 164th and Rockwell advertising the business. So that was brought to our attention. We sent a letter to the property owner letting them know that they're in violation of the county's zoning regulation. Obviously, you can't have a commercial business on a residentially owned piece of property. So to correct that issue, they have moved forward with this submittal of the PUD, and I have maybe 1 or 2 copies here if you want to look at it. This PUD is still the same from what I sent you originally. So just to kind of go over the highlights here, the most important part of what we're here to discuss is they want this PUD to be commercial general. That's going to be the base zoning district. So commercial general is our most intensive zoning district as far as commercial. So that's going to cover, quite a few things that you can do there on the property itself. Everything from kind of your convenience store with gas station, medical marijuana, office in regards to medical and all that stuff. So it's a wide array of uses that they could potentially have there. Obviously, right now, what they're wanting to do is just the gym facility at this point, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. As far as everything else, regulation-wise, they want to basically abide by the commercial general regulations in regards to, your lighting, landscaping, parking, all of those things. So if the Board of County Commissioners ultimately approves this PUD, they still have to go through our processes, even though it's an existing building, to make sure that it meets our code in regards to lighting, parking, landscaping, screening, because you are adjacent to R1 zoning all the way around this. So there's going to have to be some screening that goes along with that. Typically, when you have a commercial business, you're going to have a dumpster or some larger type of facility there to contain the trash. So we do have some regulations in regards to dumpsters. In regards to the building itself, the county is the authority having jurisdiction in regards to fire and life safety. So we're going to have to go in the building to make sure that the building itself meets fire, health safety, and all those necessary codes. So these are still things that have to be addressed after the zoning takes place. So long story short, that's where we are today, and that's how this PUD came to be. If you have any questions to me, I'll be happy to answer those. Their legal representative is here. They're the one that created the document, so they may have more information than I do.
So my question would be, since it's commercial general and has all these stipulations, all these things in there in the PUD, is the property owner willing to stipulate what items in that PUD of general commercial this would be held to? Since, probably don't want anything to do with liquor, marijuana, all that stuff. Reputable property owner here, but same thing, probably would like to know that. Is that so?
Yeah, absolutely. So Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant who is with me here again. So absolutely, we can look at that. I think given how it's been operating, obviously the intent here is just to keep it as a gym facility and bring everything up to code. But we also have that industrial to the west, and then we have a commercial to the southwest. So I think given the fact that it's been operating as a gym and has a kind of commercial component again since 2001, I thought that maybe a commercial would be ideal for this area. We don't have any protest, and just in the event that it turns into something else, potential sales tax revenue. But we're happy to restrict it, though. I know if we want to, we can take out medical marijuana, we could take out liquor stores, we could take out gas stations. So if those three you aren't comfortable with, we can go ahead and bake that into this master design statement. If you'd like it restricted further, I'm happy to take those comments and suggestions, and I'm sure we can accommodate. But just given the surrounding area, again, given how it's been operating for some time, and given that we don't really have any protest, we thought we might as well potentially open it up and allow some flexibility for the property owner.
Eric, do you want to say what's on that southwest corner? Because there is
I've failed to do my job completely here. So kind of what you have in this area, if you look at the zoning overall, Oklahoma City, Northwest 164th is the dividing line between us and the city of Oklahoma City. They are to the south there. So obviously you can see all the residential that's kind of back to the southeast. From my understanding, directly across the street is currently AA. Now, that doesn't mean that can't change. Obviously, there's a lot more activity in the city of Oklahoma City. On the southwest corner of the intersection of 164th and Rockwell, there's a gas station that's there currently. There's quite a bit of commercial back to the west. That portion that's zoned industrially in our jurisdiction is owned by Mustang Fuel Corporation. So they do what specifically, I don't know, but they do have quite a bit of stuff that they have outside as storage. So they are definitely an industrial use that's out there. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I mean, if you'd like to, we can go over the regulation itself. If there's potentially some uses that you would like to modify. If anybody has a copy of the staff report, I don't know if I have one here directly. Let me look, but it has a list of all those uses.
Yeah, there's a gas station and a liquor
Yeah,
store right there
I'm
in
not
the
aware of
courthouse.
that,
Yeah.
that area. I've been out there once. I know the property owner itself, and I'd been there years ago, but I didn't realize what was all across that whole area there. So yeah, I mean, it was just more of a question. We got county commissioners, would they ask the same thing? But I see with what you got there, there's probably not a big deal. So
Yeah, obviously with Oklahoma City there, especially in that area, it's a constant fluctuation. If you go look at an aerial today and you look at the dividing line between us and them, it's night and day difference.
Yeah.
So, you know, because that piece of property that AA is currently now, as soon as you get more development out that way, I'm sure you're going to have more commercial. So, but I'll be whatever you guys, whatever your, however you'd like to move forward, I'd be more than happy to go over the regulation if that's a concern. You just let me know.
Do you have any questions? Of course. Anybody here to speak against it? Did you have a follow-up? Okay. Do I have a motion to either accept or deny item 11?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
Mr. Jewell.
Yes.
Mr. Farmer. Ms. Patterson.
Yes.
And Mr. Davidson.
No.
Yeah, so by him voting no, it doesn't pass because you don't have a quorum. Or you don't have enough, you don't have enough in the room, right, sorry.
If I may briefly, is there specific uses that you would like to see stricken, or is there any questions or concerns that you have that we could go ahead and address?
What did the letter that you sent to the people say, Eric?
The letter basically stated that they were running a business without the proper zoning. So for them to continue with what they're wanting to do, they would have to get the property zoned properly before they can continue.
And it said a PUD?
No, you have options. You can do a PUD. That type of use is allowed in commercial limited. You can do commercial general. So you have 3 options that you could utilize. It doesn't I did not specifically say in the letter that it has to be a PUD.
Or you didn't say it was going to be commercial?
No, I did say it would have to be commercial.
Okay.
So in this case, they did a commercial PUD, but they could have just as easily done straight zoning in regards to commercial limited or commercial general. I mean, I will say as far as the PUD itself and what they have in here, I wouldn't say there's a lot of difference between, basically straight commercial general zoning. So if you had any issues with particular uses.
I guess I would support it if it was for a gym only. That's what it is now, correct? Huh?
So the way it's currently written is they could do anything that's permitted in CG. What you're requesting is they remove all uses except a gym only.
That's correct. Then I would support it.
So as I mentioned previously, again, because of the lack of protests, because of the surrounding area kind of trending towards this industrial commercial area, we just thought it would be compatible to allow, again, some flexibility on the zoning. And luckily, we did do a PUD, so we can remove uses if we need to, which we wouldn't be able to do with a straight rezoning application. So, I mean, for example, like if this were a vet clinic, would you be opposed to a vet clinic? Because that's something that would be allowed under the commercial. Like, is there something specifically we could strike out, or are you just totally against? Because, of course we want to be able to plan
My
for the
concern is
future and,
the people that got the letter,
uh-huh.
300-foot people or however many feet it is. Eric just said they didn't know it was going to be a PUD, correct?
I think he was saying that the letter to the property owner saying we need to rezone,
They did not know it was going to be a PUD.
they hired us to do the PUD.
Right, so the letter that we sent to the property owner, initially letting them know the conflict. They're zoned R1, they would have to be zoned some form of commercial to continue. The notice that was sent to the general public in regards to this meeting and this application, we let them know that it was going to be a PUD. So the general notification of today's meeting and this item was a PUD.
But the adjacent landowners did not know that.
Yes, they did know that.
They did know that.
Because they got notification of today's meeting and what they were requesting.
Okay. I don't have a problem with the vet clinic, but I do have a problem with marijuana.
So if you would like, you want me to run down, it's fine. We can run down this. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
So you have nursing and personal care, community recreation, kind of goes along with the community neighborhood type of thing. Cultural institution, place of worship, church, public safety, emergency services, admin, professional offices, alcohol production. This would be like a restaurant with.
Okay, strike that one. Strike that one.
I know. I had to steal yours. Animal sales and service, kennels and vet, commercial amusement, indoor, community theater, eating establishment in regards to fast food, drive-ins, grocery. Stop me if I need.
Go ahead.
Okay. Grocery, convenience store, grocery, a supermarket, home improvement store.
Strike that one.
Laundry services as far as a laundromat, lodging accommodations as far as a campground, medical services.
Strike the campground. No casinos.
Medical
We're good.
medical services as far as office, medical services as far as urgent care, personal services is restricted, repair services, consumer repairs, retail sales and services, spectator sports in regards to
Strike that one.
general.
No chicken fighting.
No.
I think that's illegal like that.
Automotive storage, automotive and equipment major repairs, auto sales and rentals, gasoline sales, a truck stop, indoor agriculture, that's medical marijuana. to
Strike
some
that one.
degree.
I'm assuming we're gonna go ahead and strike that
Adult
one too.
adult entertainment,
Strike that one.
Uh, medical cannabis as far as dispensary,
Yep.
plant nursery, parking garage, auto sales and rentals as far as farm and heavy equipment, wholesaling, storage and distribution, retail sales and services as far as general retail, repair services restricted, personal storage facility, outdoor display, medical services, medical care, rehab, lodging accommodations, hotels, motels,
Strike that.
liquor or package store,
Strike that.
laundry services, dry cleaning, home improvement. It would be a smaller type of store. It wouldn't be like a Home Depot.
Okay.
Grocery, which would be a small market, financial institution, eating establishment, fast food with a drive-through, eating establishment, sit down with no alcohol permitted, communication services, commercial amusement, a movie theater, animal sales and services as far as grooming, agriculture supplies and services, admin and professional offices for local business, public utilities, library services, community center, community recreation, private, and a banquet/event center.
Okay. I can live with those.
You want me to read in the ones I struck, or we got that for the record? Very good.
I think Marquita.
You got it? Okay.
You can send me that too.
Yeah.
And it'll go forward to the county commissioners anyway for the full approval.
Right.
Right.
Do we have any more discussion?
Do we need to revote?
Yes, you
Or
do.
I need to change my vote.
Well, first you need to,
We've got to have a motion and second.
yeah, you got to have a
do
motion,
I
a
have-
second to remove.
Approve or deny item 11 as amended.
Motion to approve.
Do we open it? Okay. Okay, so we're going to reopen item 11's vote. And we're going to amend it
Right, but
as-
they have
as
to,
stated.
they have to motion and approve to reopen.
Okay, do I have a motion to reopen?
I'll make a motion to open.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Mr. Jewell, Mr. Farmer, Ms. Patterson.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Now you can.
Now do I have a motion to approve or deny as amended?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Jewell,
Yes.
Mr. Farmer, and Ms. Patterson.
Yes.
And Mr. Davis.
Yes.
And ultimately, it will go in front of the BOCC.
That is correct.
Thank you.
As amended.
As amended. Item 11, as amended. Okay.
As I realized who the property owner was and what he has done throughout the city of Oklahoma City and everywhere else, I don't think we have anything to worry about, or under the current owners, and plus he lives on that property, so that's why I kind of stepped back from what I was starting to say that Greg followed up with, so.
Item 12, discussion and possible action to receive the October 2025 P Fund and Expense Report. Adam, or Eric.
Yes, as you can see, we're a little bit down. I think next month when we come, we got some more money, so I think we'll be in the black for November. But overall, obviously, we're still up
Black
pretty
for
good.
year-to-date.
Yeah, so hopefully it stays that way.
Do I have a motion to receive?
Motion.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Jewell? Yes. Mr. Farmer? Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Greg motion, Gary second.
Item 13, new business. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Section 311.9, new business is defined as any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting of this agenda. Is there any new business?
I have nothing.
Okay, with no new business. Item 14, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Farmer? Ms. Patterson?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Well, you're